Last year, I saved this basket full of dried zinnia blooms. And this year, I'm gonna make a cut flower garden using these seed heads right here. I hope it'll work because zinnias are my favorite flower. In the past, for me, they've been really easy to grow. You just direct sow them into the ground, which is what I might like the most about growing these zinnias. Easy peasy. And more than likely, this is an easy method for you to try too. I know this method works because I've done it before. In fact, these blooms probably came from seeds that I had saved from the year before. Last year, I just went around in my yard in flower beds and just took the seed head and just kind of crumbled it up in different areas. And lo and behold, the plants grew and they produced blooms and flowers, and they were just beautiful. So last summer, the flowers that I did not pick for myself to bring into my house, I let the blooms dry on the plant. And then one day I was piddling around in the yard and I just went through and clipped all the blooms off and stored them in that basket. But I have heard people say that if you cut a zinnia and put it in a vase and bring in your house, it can dry in the vase and still you'll be able to use the seeds. I don't know if that's exactly true or not. What I have here is just a mixture of everything that I grew last year. These probably initially came from the Dollar Tree, a package of seed from the Dollar Tree. But zinnias are so easy to grow. Let me show you an old flower head. This is an old dried zinnia bloom. And the seeds are down in here somewhere. If you pull one of the petals away, that right there is the seed. That part right there is the seed. Isn't that amazing? That something so tiny, in fact, that's two seeds right there. They're so tiny, but they're so powerful. If y'all have ever seen a bed full of zinnias, you know what I mean. So today, I'm just gonna put them in this bed. Let me show you the bed that I have prepared here. This is the bed. And really, there was not much preparation that went into it at all. And I know this works because I came through here last week and just sprinkled some zinnia seeds in this bed. And look, they're already coming up. And here are a couple more right here. That's a blanket flower right there. And look, these are two volunteer tomato seedlings. I might try to save those. I did not do much to prepare this bed for today's project. I did go through and weed it. I pulled out all the little oak seedlings and little henbit and stuff like that that I could tell was in here. There's some other things that are coming up that I use my plant ID to identify. Because I was thinking, well, are those some of the zinnias that are coming up? But they, in fact, were not. So I pulled those. I had a bag of soil conditioner. Y'all remember that soil conditioner that I got for Christmas? Best Christmas present ever? A whole pallet of soil. Well, I had a bag of that, and I just kind of spread it around on top of this bed, making sure not to cover up the zinnia seedlings that are already growing. I kind of wet it down with the water hose, but we are supposed to get rain tomorrow, so that's good. And that's all the prep I've done. I've heard that zinnias like to grow in poor soil, so if that's the case, I'm gonna be the zinnia lady. One negative to this bed is that it's on the east side of my house. The sun comes up over there. So this little bed is in full sun until right about now, until about 3:30 in the afternoon. So I don't know if the seeds on the west side of the bed will get as much sun. As the sun starts moving west, the house will block the sun on that end of the bed. But if they don't grow, that's okay. And what am I out? Nothing? Because I already have these blooms, and what else am I going to use them for? And I have so many seeds here. I think I'll still scatter them around all in my other flower beds. Plus, I ordered a couple of different kinds of zinnia seeds from Johnny's. I ordered the double ripple raspberry or double raspberry ripple, you know, that Steph uses on Hooked and Rooted. They're shorter zinnias, and she uses them on the front of her border, and they're beautiful. So I did buy some of those, and I might start those in the house. And I also ordered a package of the Queenie mixed series. They just have kind of different colors. So I think those would be pretty. I'm pretty sure that I'll direct sow those. Another issue that I might have is deer. You know, deer are all around here. These are my hydrangeas right here, so I have to keep those sprayed so the deer don't eat them. So I'll probably just put a little spray, deer deterrent, on this bed every now and then. But I also planted some onions. And that little pot right there, and in the ground right there in front of this bed, that's rosemary right there. And then I put some onions right there in that part of the bed. And I don't think deer bother onions. I don't think they like the way they smell. So maybe that will be a deterrent. We shall see. To me, zinnias are the easiest thing in the world to grow from seed. Because all you have to do is take your seed head, crumple it up, and let the wind take it to its final destination in your flower bed. Just like this. See? Oh, there's a seed right there for sure. Some of this other stuff is probably just what they call chaff, the material surrounding the seed, and maybe just some dried petals. But see, there's a seed. They're everywhere. They're all in this bed. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these seed heads and the rest of this flower bed, is just scatter them in the wind. Zinnias reseed themselves all the time. Every year, they'll drop seeds right where they're growing and grow new plants the next year. So this should work. This should do. I've also heard of people just taking the whole zinnia head and throwing a little soil on top of it, and that works well. It's what I've read anyway. I can't wait to see these zinnias come June or July. Now, I'm sure that I am overseeding this like by a long shot. If all of these were to germinate and grow, that'd be a lot of zinnias. And I'd probably have to thin some of them out, but I think there's a lot of chaff in here, so all of this that I'm sprinkling on this bed's not a seed. There are a good many seeds in here too. And when these do germinate and start growing, I doubt very seriously that I come out here and thin them out. I'm sure the zinnias would grow better with more space around each plant. I watched a video today and a lady said to leave about 8 inches between plants. Most of these little seeds, there's not even 1 inch between them. A lot of these seeds are just stacked right on top of each other. So we'll see what comes of it. I'm not stressed about it. I think it'll be pretty any kind of way that they want to grow. Whatever will be, will be. Another thing to consider when you're sowing zinnias, your soil is supposed to be warm. I don't know what the exact temperature needs to be, and I don't know what the temperature of this soil is right now, but I know I'm hot out here right now. Like, I'm sweating on my top lip. And about 10 days ago, when I sowed those other zinnia seeds, they germinated. So I think the soil is warm enough. I live in zone 8A, Mississippi, and we've been warm. We've had like a pretty warm spring, I guess. And I don't think our days are gonna do anything but get warmer and warmer. Our last frost date is usually around April the 15th. And I looked on the 10-day forecast, and the lowest temperature is supposed to be like 44 degrees. And that's only for a little while. And then the highs during the day will get up to 76, 78. And like I said, we are supposed to have rain tomorrow, but I am going to water these in real quick. And I'll probably go over the top of them, just scatter some more of that topsoil right on the top of all these little zinnias so the wind doesn't take them away. And maybe it'll hide them from the birds. I hear that birds like zinnia seeds. I don't know. This is the Christmas present topsoil that I'm using just because it's what I have available to me today. And I'm just going to kind of give it one of these. You know, it'll cover some of them. I mean, I don't even know how deep they're supposed to be planted, but these are just sown right on top of the earth. This may be a complete flop. But I think it's a fun experiment. Now I'm going to water these in and hope for the best. Look at all the zinnias that I have left in this basket. I'm probably just going to go throughout my whole yard and in all these flower beds and sprinkle them around and see what comes of it. But I'm pretty excited about this. I love making flower arrangements for myself and for family and church, and zinnias are just so hardy. One thing for sure with these zinnias, here in Mississippi, it is so hot and humid in the summer, they will get powdery mildew. The green leaves will just get kind of a whitish, grayish looking mildew stuff growing on them, but that does not affect the blooms whatsoever. You can still cut them and use them in your arrangements, and so that's what I'm expecting to do. They're not in the front of, right in the front of my house, so you know the powdery mildew won't be a big deal for me. But you can sow zinnias like every 2 weeks. You can just continuously sow the zinnias, and they're so quick to grow that you can have several batches every summer, well into the fall. In Mississippi, we don't get our first frost until last year. It was well into November, And my zinnias just kept on blooming the whole time. Also with zinnias, when you cut a bloom, where you made the cut, it'll send up 2 new little shoots. So you'll have a bloom gonna grow over here and a bloom to grow over here. So you'll get 2 for the price of 1. Yay! So that's why they're called cut and come again. So you can just cut on them all throughout the season. And then at the end of this summer, I'll let some of the seed heads dry on the plant and cut those and use them for next year. Hopefully it all goes well. And even if it doesn't go all well, that's okay too. It's an experiment and it's a lot of fun for me. There's lots more fun things that I want to do around here. So why don't y'all subscribe to Patty B Gardening and keep up with me. So y'all tell me, is this how y'all start your zinnias? Direct sowing them like this? Or do you start them inside under grow lights? You just can't get much easier than this, and I have not had a whole lot of luck with the grow lights. But if Mother Nature is cooperative, I think I'm gonna have the best zinnia year ever.